Hey, this is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to crochet our Fall for Granny basket. The yarn that I'm using is Mary Maxim Titan bulky weight yarn, and I have the color Cottonwood, Russet, and Tan. I'm also using a wooden crochet hook from Mary Maxim, and I'll be using the 8mm size. I'm also going to be attaching a personalized tag, and I'm using leather rivets for this style of tag, but you can also get ones that you can sew on, and you'll need a yarn needle for bulky weight yarn. So for this basket, I'm going to begin with tan. You can choose whatever color you want to start with. For this basket here, I started with the russet and alternated my other colors and finished off with russet, but you can really do any combo. So I'm going to start with tan and make a magic ring. You're going to take your hook, sliding it through all 3 loops on your finger, taking the first loop, pull it through, and we're going to chain 2. Now work 12 double crochet in the ring. So now once you have your 12 double crochet in the ring, just push your work out of the way just so you can see these 2 loops. Take your tail, you're going to pull, you're going to see that one loop starts to pull in, so that's the loop you're now going to grab. It will pull in the other loop, and then just take your tail. And that makes a nice tight and secure ring. I'm now going to do a reverse slip stitch join. So I'm going to pull my yarn to the front of my work. I'm just going to go through the first double crochet back to front. I'm going to pull the yarn through. You kind of just twist your hook around, get it through, chain 2. This round I'm going to work 2 double crochet in every stitch. So you're increasing from 12 to 24 double crochets. So our chain 2 is not included as a stitch as we work our increases. So I'm going to continue to work around adding 2 double crochet per stitch. You can do another reverse slip stitch. You don't have to do your slip stitch like this. You can just go the regular way. All this does is help sort of hide that join a little bit. I'm going to chain 2, and we're going to work another increase round. So I'm going to work 1 double crochet in the first stitch, and then I'm going to do 2 in the next. 1 in the next, and 2 in the next. And I'm going to work that all the way around, doing 1 and then 2, so we increase another 12 stitches and we're up to 36. So now I think I'm going to bring a little teal into this one as well, and then it will match the other 2 baskets because I do have a little bit left from my one basket. So I think I'm going to do all 4 colors, and this is where you can get creative. You can use scrap yarn, you can use a variety of colors, you could do 1 color, you could alternate 2 colors. Really get creative and do your basket how you would like. So next I'm going to add in, I'm going to bring in the Cottonwood. So what we're going to do at this point, I've increased enough for this size. So I'm going to slip stitch in between that starting chain 2 and the first double crochet. But instead of pulling through and slip stitching, I'm going to bring in my new color. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to grab the Cottonwood, I'm going to pull it through, and I'm going to chain 3, and this will count as my first double crochet for my first cluster. So I'm going to work 2 double crochets. So my beginning cluster is going to be a chain 3 and 2 doubles. And what I like to do to make changing colors really, really simple, we're going to cut our first color. You're just going to take your tails and you're going to knot it nice and tight. Okay, and you can just trim that. Now you could weave those if you want, but this does a pretty good job of just getting rid of the tails, and then we can move right on. So now what we're going to do is skip the next 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work a cluster in between. So a cluster is going to be 3 double crochets. Then I'm going to skip the next 3 doubles and work a cluster in between. Skip the next 3. Okay, and we're going to repeat this around. Okay, so when you get around, you should be ending with 3 doubles. We're skipping right over them and we're going to slip stitch in our starting cluster. So I'm going to go across and slip stitch into the double, not too tight, across the next double. And then I'm going to go to slip stitch into the space between the clusters, but I'm not going to pull through with this color. I am going to change to the next. So I'm going to trim. Maybe I'll go with the teal. And what I do notice with this yarn, the newer stock of yarn seems to be a bit plusher. This teal, sometimes there's variances between colors as well. So you may get a little more yardage on one ball over another ball. So this one, as you can see, looks definitely a little bit thicker, but it's going to be okay for this pattern because it's not a sized pattern. So we're going to tighten this up. We're going to chain 3. And then I like to make my little knot, get this out of the way. And then I'm going to work 2 doubles for my beginning cluster. We're going to skip to the next, work a cluster between the clusters. Okay, so I've worked all the way around. I have 12 clusters. Just gonna trim that tail. And we're going to slip stitch across again. So we're going to go through the double, through the next double, and then I'm going to change color on this slip stitch. I'm going to trim the teal. I just have a little bit left. I'm going to pull in the russet. I'm going to chain 3, work 2 doubles for my beginning cluster, if you're working this all up in one color, it will go really quickly because you don't have to change colors. And I'm going to work around in this color now. Okay, so once you get all the way around, we're going to slip stitch across. And we're going to change color on that last slip stitch between the clusters. We're going to go back to the tan, which I find the tan, it seems to be on a little bit on the thinner side from the russet. So taking this into consideration, you're going to get a little more yardage from the tan and also the teal. So if we had made the larger basket in the russet, we probably wouldn't have had any left over for this. It's quite common with yarn that there are some variances between colors. I know that can be frustrating, but that's just the way it tends to be. Okay, so we've slip stitched. I'm going to chain 3. I like to push these tails over to kind of the side, get my 2 doubles, get that first cluster done. And then knot up these tails. Okay, so I'm going to work this all the way around. Working my clusters in the spaces between the clusters. Okay, so at this point, I won't be changing any more colors. We're gonna finish off the basket. Now, if you wanna make it a little taller, you can work additional rounds. And also if you're making the set and you don't wanna buy additional yarn, let's say you don't have any teal or russet left, just work with the colors you have and make your small basket. This one is really just meant to use up the scraps that are left over from our 2 other sizes. So now what we're going to do is slip stitch into that first chain, so that starting chain 3, just slip stitch that in there, chain 1, and we're going to work a single crochet in the next double, and a single crochet in the next double. Now we're going to be making a little handle, so I'm going to chain out a total of 8. I'm going to chain out 8. Okay, and I'm going to skip over these 2 clusters, so a total of 6 stitches, and I'm going to work into the next 3, and I'm going to work a total of 12 stitches. So we're going to work across 4 clusters. So once you've worked 12 stitches, which is across the 4 clusters, we're going to chain 8 again. Okay, and then I'm going to skip over 2 clusters, which is 6 stitches, and we'll single crochet in the next, and we'll single crochet in each of the remaining stitches. So there should be 3 clusters, so 9, and we started with 3, so it ends up that we have 12 between each of our handles. Okay, so we have 9 stitches. We're going to slip stitch to join, and we could do a reverse if we want to hide that a little bit. Chain 1, and now we're going to work single crochets around again. I'm going to add 1 extra stitch to the handle, so I'm actually going to do 9 single crochet across the handle. That's 8, and as you can see, it just seems like it needs a little more than 8. So 9, you could probably even fit 10 in. You can stretch your stitches out a little bit. The idea is to get the stitches to go across that handle nice. And then we're going to continue working around. So work around in each stitch, do another 9 single crochet on this handle as well. And I'll meet you up at the end. Okay, so I've worked all the way around. I'm going to slip stitch to join. I'm going to chain 1. And now as a little final step, we can do a reverse single crochet around the top. You don't have to do this step. This is how it's going to look. It's just going to give it a really nice little finished edge. So to do that, instead of going around this way, we're just going to go in the reverse. So I'm going to go through the stitch, pulling up the yarn, pulling through. So go through the stitch. It's really just a yarn under. Okay, we're pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Find this is the easiest way to just grab it going under. So go through front to back, find that yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through. And you're doing this through every stitch, right up over the handle. So I'm coming around to the end. Okay, so what you're going to do, take your hook off your loop. You're going to come back here to the start, push your hook through, take your loop, put it on your hook, pull it through to join. Okay, and then you're going to fasten off. Now, sometimes this, it might not look as perfect as the rest going around. You can weave this tail in, and then we can add our tag to this spot, and then that will just cover up any of the look that you don't like. Okay, so this is how your basket is looking. It's a nice, cute little basket. You could even use this as a little plant cozy, really whatever, sitting in your bathroom. You could add some cloths or some soaps. Lots of purposes and use for cute little baskets like this. So next we can add the tag, and I'm going to add it over here to this position and just cover up any of that join. But if you can get your join looking pretty good, it shouldn't matter whether you're covering it up. So you can pick, if you buy a set like this, then you have lots of different options and different lengths that you can use for different projects, and having the different colors is nice. But I'm gonna go with the bronzed look for this because it matches in well. You can just put your tag. Now you're gonna need a hammer to secure this, but I'm just gonna snap it in place for the video. Tools come in the kit. Okay, so you would just use the tools that are provided to hammer this. Okay, just to make sure that that's nice and tight. I'm just going to flatten these out so you can see a little better here in the tutorial. So we have medium size, the small size, and these are going to nest nicely together. And then we have our larger size. So if you head to the blog, go through the links in the description box below the video. There will be links to the blog where you can view the pattern, purchase the PDF, links to the yarn and the hooks that I used in the tutorial. As you can see, it makes a nice set, and I used only one of each color for the entire set. So a tan, a cottonwood, a teal, and a russet made the entire set. But as I mentioned in the video, the teal and the tan do work up a little bit smaller than the russet. Russet's a little thicker, as well as the cottonwood. So what I would suggest, if you're worried, you can always purchase extra yarn to have it on hand. You can always make some extra baskets or use it for a different project. But based on the yardage that I had on the balls that I worked with, I was able to get the 3 baskets. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell to stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.